Go.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the More You Noble Sports Podcast. Today is September the 29th, and the Cardinals are National League Central champs.
Yeah, and somehow that feels like the second most significant thing that's happened since we recorded the last podcast.
It really does. Actually, you could almost argue, in Cardinals too, but you could almost argue in baseball it's the third. However,
No, I wouldn't argue that.
right now, one step at a time to get that Central Division. When you really weren't playing your best ball, you went out. We talked about last time playing playoff teams. You go 2-4 against the Dodgers and the Padres, but then you do what you have to do and take care of business, taking the first one, which I thought was huge in Milwaukee to go ahead and clinch. There were people on Twitter upset about the second game. That blows my mind. Like what? Every single one of them had to be hung over.
Yeah, I mean, you saw Lars the night before, and he pinch hit for Goldie. Lars got intentionally walked. I saw a tweet. They're like, they must not have seen Lars playing last night if they weren't throwing him strikes.
Right.
Because there's no way that guy was going to hit Devin Williams. And also, here's the thing: like, look at the lineup last night. The fact that they were close to winning that game just shows you how much better than they are than the Brewers.
The only thing that mattered about last night, in my mind, was so they can kind of solidify this place, and we'll talk about this in a little bit, as your number 2 starter in the postseason, at least in the first round.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be very interesting because I don't know what you do with Wainwright. I don't know what the answer is because I just have a hard time seeing them saying we're not pitching Adam Wainwright at home in October and this last season. Like, I just have
John Morosi reported today that the Cardinals still intend. Right.
John Morosi reported that the Cardinals were in on Juan Soto 12 hours after they were apparently out. I don't care.
We can talk about the roster here in a little bit because I kind of actually do want to talk about the roster in a little bit. But I just thought, this team, when you had Albert coming back, which, a lot of us, everybody, nobody saw what was coming. And we'll get to 700 in a little bit too. But, you've had the injuries. Jack, Tyler.
Times 4.
Right? Yachty, Carlson. You could fill in like Paul DeYoung didn't do what I think wanted, obviously what they wanted Paul DeYoung to do. Nolan Gorman comes up and has success, and then struggles. But you see all the young kids like really fill in and do their job. And here we are heading into the All-Star or into the trade deadline. We're 4.5 games back. And here we are sitting here at the end of September, National League Central champs, and it wasn't even close. You can say, well, we didn't play great against the Padres or the Dodgers, and I understand that. Dodgers the best team in baseball. Nobody's even close. Padres series was fluky, I thought. I thought you could have won 2 of those 3 games.
I think people that say, like, this is what some of the more negative people in St. Louis media do when they talk about the record against teams above 500. Like, they'll be like, well, the Braves, if they play the Braves or the Phillies, they have losing records against those teams. It's like, well, when were they playing them? They played the first against the Padres when they couldn't. It doesn't matter who they were playing; they were going to lose. They couldn't hit the ball. Like, that's not who that team was. They were in a weird funk. We all know it. We all saw what was happening. That's not who they are. So I don't care. I automatically don't care about those 2 games. Don't care. What I care about is that Jack was great in Game 3, and then they won that game. I care about the fact that they went out and destroyed the Dodgers Game 1. And then games 2 and 3, I feel like there was maybe a little bit of a, hey, Albert just hit home run number 700 kind of thing. And also, like, these games, I know you want to go out there and try and win all of them. And there's that. They don't mean anything. They're not playing. They weren't. I know they had to wrap the division, but that thing was over. And they were also going in looking at, they're not going to get the 2 seed. They knew that at that point. It was over. And I honestly didn't know the Braves and the Mets, they had a series this weekend, or I wouldn't have even talked about the 2 seed.
Right.
Because, you're not going to gain ground. You couldn't gain ground this weekend, no matter how close they were, because one team is going to win every day. So, for me, those games, whatever, if people don't recognize that the playoffs are completely different, and if they play the Padres in a series, that's not at all how it would have looked. If they play the Dodgers in a series, it's not how it would have looked. It's just, therefore, I care more about individual performances right now than I do about the team overall.
Personally. Yeah, and a couple things that the team had obviously the 46 inning scoreless streak. Newt broke it with the bomb, and then obviously Donnie hits the grand slam, and they win that game. And like you said, kind of got them going and springboarded them into Friday, which I think we ought to go ahead and talk about. That was when again, I guess when did Albert sign? April, late March, April, early April,
April.
Whenever it was, we came on. He had 779, and we both said how awesome would it, or 679, sorry, how awesome would it be to get to 700? But we both believed he was going to be a platoon guy, which I think without injuries and without a lot of circumstances, he probably would have been.
And he was for most of the year.
Right. But then all of a sudden, now not only is he at 700, and by the way, that was incredible to do 699 and 700 on the same night in Dodger Stadium. That was unbelievable. Unbelievable. But the fact that he has 21 home runs, player of the week again, right? Second, if you would have told me Albert Pujols would be player of the week twice in the National League this year, I would have said, oh, the Cardinals are like 25 games out.
Yeah. I mean, that's obviously incredible. Like, you can make an argument. I mean, we don't know, obviously. It's going to be very hard for another player to get in that 700 home run club. Because almost thinking about what you have to do, you have to average 35 homers for 20 years to get in. Like, that's to be the average. And the coolest part to me that I don't think enough people are talking about, he's the only Latin player to ever do it.
Yep.
And, the amount of important people in baseball that are Latin, like, it's a big part of the culture. Latin Americans are, what the second most biggest population in baseball, I would assume, behind, white Americans.
I assume
the amount of players. And for them to get one, I'd imagine that's pretty cool for Latin American players all around the league and Latin American fans. And he deserved it. I said this when he was at 692 or 691, whatever it was. Like, he's not going to get this close to 700 and not do it. He's Albert. He's going to do it. And he did it. And he did it in fashion. And I guarantee he doesn't hit another one. He's going to stay at 700.
First of all, he owns Pittsburgh. Like he does.
It just seems like an Albert thing to be exactly at 700.
Like Clemente had 3,000 hits.
Yeah, exactly.
When you think Latin players, for me, I shouldn't say you. It's Clemente and Pujols, right? And then obviously you can get into A-Rod, and there's a lineage. Don't get me. I'm not unvalidating anyone, but I'm talking about hitters. All right. So when you think about that, and now I think there is some good juju, good karma. The baseball gods struck that A-Rod was the Latin home run king at 696, and he will never be the home run king again.
No. And for me, by the way, if you heard about my three, it would be Clemente, Albert, and Miggy. Those are my three. But
yeah, I can't argue with that.
But yeah, I just think it's so cool for him. I'm just so happy for him. Like, he deserved that. The whole thing at the time I was saying, what if he gets at 698? I know he might not care, but the COVID season would have stopped him from getting 700. That's what I kept thinking.
Yeah.
And thank God that didn't happen. Like 700, it's almost crazy to we were kind of all like, oh, is he gonna get to 700? And then you talk about it so much that you don't really stop and realize how crazy it is to hit 700 home runs. You hit 500, you're a Hall of Famer. He hit 200 more than that.
And to be fair, the COVID season could have stopped him, however, from passing Babe Ruth.
Yeah, no, not with the Angels. He wasn't hitting 15 more.
In 100 games?
He was horrible there.
I'm just saying, like there was a chance. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, but I don't really care too much about that. I don't think he does either.
Well, I mean, you add it now. The Mount Rushmore of home runs of tanks is very simple, right? I don't even care what anybody says about anything that they want to argue.
Let's talk about that later. Let's talk about that later.
Right, I'm not arguing that. It's Bonds, it's Hank, it's Babe, and it's Pujols. That's your Mount Rushmore of home runs in the Major League Baseball history.
And honestly, doesn't that seem like what it should be?
Yeah.
Would you put anyone else in there? I wouldn't. No.
A lot of people, I've heard a lot of talks about how Albert might be the greatest right-handed hitter of all time. I haven't dug deep into the numbers, and I might do that in the offseason. I mean, it's pretty hard to devalue what Hank Aaron did from the right-hand side, but I got to think he's in the top three, right?
He's top two, and he's behind Hank Aaron.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine.
Like Hank Aaron, what he did, you can't say Albert was great. Obviously, he had 700 home runs. But Hank Aaron was as good as anybody in baseball for 20 years. Albert, we all know, 11 years he was like that. And then 10 years he trailed off. Hank just didn't do that. So that's where I would get the difference at. To me, it's crazy that Albert was so mediocre for 7-8 years and still hit 700 home runs.
I know.
I know. It's crazy to me. I'm so
like I said, the best right-handed hitter I've ever seen. So I can say that. I can say that without any problem. Okay. But also to kind of circle back, because I think we might want to hit a little bit more, and we will hit more on them winning the Central. But the Cardinals aren't Central champs without Albert. Like, that's all there is to it. You know, you can Goldie's probably still going to win the MVP. I know a lot of people. Hey, Pete Alonso's getting hot. A lot of people are really
Stop.
riding that shock. I'm
Says
not
that,
saying
they're
I am.
stupid. If anybody says that, you're stupid.
Well, you can take that up with MLB.
Okay, they're stupid.
But again,
his 867, his OPS is
like I was saying, hold on, I'm not worried about that. Like I'm saying, without Albert, they're not here. And you know, at a time where you thought he was going to be in against lefties, and then all of a sudden you had the injuries. Now he's playing every day, but not only is he playing every day, we talk about this, he's producing. Like he is producing at an elite level, OPS wise, especially. He might still lead Major League Baseball in OPS since July 1st. I don't know. I didn't dig into
not.
it.
No,
got to be close.
Aaron Judge has to be way past him.
I don't know. It's got to be close.
No,
so
I bet it's not.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like
Aaron
I said,
Judge has been nuts since July 1st, but
yeah, but he also just had a 2-week stretch was pretty low, so I don't know.
Yeah, but he didn't hit a homer, but he still had like 1,000 OPS in that stretch. Did you? Yeah. So people are actually saying Pete Alonso should win the MVP.
Yeah, they were talking about it today. In fact, Jim told me that was his pick.
Okay, well, Jim told me stupid then because Pete Alonso has an 867 OPS, which is 130 points lower than Paul Goldschmidt.
Yeah, and also
with 3 less WAR.
His WAR's 3.5 less.
It's almost half.
The problem is he plays in New York. That's the problem.
And when he played in New York, he sucked for a month.
I'm not. I agree. It's Paul Goldschmidt, and
he doesn't play defense. Close. Like, what is the argument here?
Yeah, I think the argument was. My guess is Carlos Pena took Goldie, so Tommy had to take. You know what I'm saying? That's my guess.
It's just like so obvious though to say Paul Goldschmidt.
Yeah.
And honestly, if there's another guy you want to go to, fine. It's Nolan, and he's way better than Pete Alonso. So get out of here.
Couple things I just wanted to get your take on because it just blows. I mean, obviously, people just bitch about everything. One, I was bummed that Danny Mac didn't call it. I get it. All right, I understand. It, and I thought it was really cool and a very class act. Which, not surprised that he had John Rooney keep his inning. John Rooney gets to make the call on the radio. That was pretty awesome. But these people who are bitching about Apple TV, it's like you. So what did they want him to do? That's what I want to know. He had 698. Are you asking for Fox and ESPN to interrupt all their programming on a Friday night to run a Cardinal game every night of the week until he gets to 700? Are you wanting it on Bally Sports Midwest, which has what, a 100th of people who have Apple? Way more people got to see the home run because it was on Apple, which, by the way, free for everyone. Every single person could watch Apple. Bally Sports here in St. Louis is not on like 4 of the major streaming services.
It's harder for me to watch Bally Sports on my phone than Apple TV.
So my question is, what was the bitch? What like I saw literally.
I mean,
Rennie Knott, Frank Cusimano, Bernie Miklasz, Randy Carricker. What are they all bitching about? I don't know.
Well, those are the 3 guys that tend to bitch about everything. But I mean, I get it. I want Danny Mac to be calling it, but at the end of the day, it's Albert's thing. It's not Danny Mac's thing. So there's that. Danny Mac's great, but he's not like he doesn't have the right to Albert Pujols' moments. That's not how it works. And here's the thing that's weird to me, Dad. Everyone talks about that. And I was on that train too. But the greatest moments in Cardinal history for you, I'm assuming it's an Ozzie Smith homer in 82.
It was 85.
85. That's one of them. The 82 World Series. David Freese homer. Danny Mac called none of them because all the big games in the history of any sport are nationally broadcasted in the postseason. So
Jack Buck, we were lucky that Jack Buck was doing those like that.
Okay,
on the radio.
Okay, fine. Since 2011, then 2006 World Series, they're all called by national broadcasters. So having a big moment called by someone other than your your local broadcaster is not new. It's very normal. Happens all the time. So I get it, Danny Mac, but it's just they want. And I guess they're old people. I mean, a lot of people say old people can't get to it. I don't know. Call someone and have them help you.
I set it up for your grandma and grandpa who are both over 80.
And I do get it, but at the same time, like it's good for the sport. It's good for exposure. It's good for I mean, how many people might have been scrolling through Apple TV and saw Aaron Judge and Albert Pujols and said, "Oh yeah, you're right. They are doing that cool stuff. Maybe I'll click on it." If it's only 10 people, that's still 10 more fans that you didn't have watching the game.
And here's your thing: the same people who are bitching about that are bitching that MLB can't grow the game. Well, they signed a $64 million deal with Apple TV to show more games. It just happened to be that this was the game. Now, if you want to make the argument that he had 699, and like they did with Judge when they moved the game to Fox that night, I think, right? Then that what they did, it was supposed to be on Apple TV or Peacock, and they moved it to Fox. I do understand that, but he didn't have 699.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? When Judge had 60, I'm sorry. When Judge had 60, I was wrong. I misspoke. When Judge had 60, they moved the game from either Apple TV or Peacock, whatever it was.
They didn't
I
move
get
it.
that, but
They
Albert
didn't
had
move
6. It was on. Well, maybe they
move
moved it. Maybe they moved it. Yeah, it was supposed to be on somewhere else, and they put it on Fox. It was on national TV. He didn't hit it that night, but they put it when he had the shot to it at Yankee Stadium.
Well,
That's all I'm saying.
He had 59, I think, when that happened. But yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And so, what do you want them to do? Like, I still don't understand what is your answer.
I mean, I don't even think it's worth talking about to me because they're not going to stop doing it. It's a lot of money. People are going to get mad because they want to get mad. I get wanting Danny Mac to call it. I would love to hear him call it. I would kind of sad that I'm not going to get to hear his call and what it would have been. But at the same time, like it's not about Danny Mac. It's about Albert doing something amazing. Instead of bitching about something, just celebrate what he just did. He just became one. Like when he was running the bases, like he was saying, "Oh man, this is an Apple TV game." No,
Right.
700 home runs. He has
Right.
700 home runs. And to be honest with you, most of the people that I heard that said they weren't watching the game said, I just didn't want to bother with it. Well, that's your fault.
Right.
You didn't like it too much work. Okay, don't.
The one thing that kills me, like I said, I've talked to a lot of people who have YouTube TV, they have Hulu TV, they have Roku TV, they have. There's another big one here in the area that everybody has that doesn't. You can't even get Bally Sports games. Like unless you have Charter, that's why we switched over to DirecTV Stream was simply for Bally Sports and all the other sports. But if you're not a sports fanatic like our household is, you're not going to do that because the other ones are cheaper. And so, well, you just missed the Cardinal game. So you weren't going to get them anyway. And also, like I said, Apple is an international audience. So people everywhere got to see it.
Yeah. And also the way the media runs right now, most people were going to see it through tweets anyway.
Right.
Just how it is. They're going to see the video of it.
And also, shout out, people in Iowa got to see it because they weren't blacked out for the first time.
And there's that as well. There are no blackout restrictions. So that's cool as well.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like
I'm not going to, I don't want to spend a lot of time about it. I just think it's one of those things. It's growing the game. It sucks for a handful of people. I understand that, and I'm sorry. But for the greater good of the game, that this is a no-brainer. And this is also, by the way, as I'm watching right now, the NFL game is on Amazon Prime. So This is where we're heading.
It's not just baseball. It's just
right.
I don't know what to say about it. Some of the people in St. Louis just they want something to be mad at, and since they can't be mad at Mozeliak right now because he made good moves, they found something else. I don't know.
Well, they are mad at Jeff Albert still.
Well, they're stupid.
It does blow your mind when you listen to him talk. It does blow your mind. So let's talk a little bit more. I'd like to get some stuff. Obviously, the Albert thing deserved as much attention as we can give it because one of the coolest baseball moments for me in my life. I'll be honest. Like it's outside, and maybe I don't know where it ranks. If I'd have to really sit down and think about it, outside of World Series and playoff games, maybe one of the coolest regular season games moments for me of all time.
A lot of regular season moments don't really stick out with you. At least not unless they're like in the recent memories. And for this whole season, for 325 with Yadi and Waino, for 700 with Albert, and for all of that, and they still win the division. They're going to have an MVP in Goldie. I don't care what you say, Jim Thome. No offense. Jim Thome is a first baseman, dude. We should know better. Anyway.
Here's the funny thing. Let me explain.
You better be right that you said that because that's some blasphemy.
I did. I watched it. Yeah, it was him and Carlos Pena. And let me be fair to Jim because Jim told me just won the Louisville Slugger like Man of the Year award. It's going to be awarded.
He's a great guy.
He's awesome, dude. One of my favorite players of all time. We included him on our Cleveland Indians / Guardians.
He's one of the best first basemen ever lived.
So, to be fair, he literally spent 3 minutes going on about how much he loved Paul Goldschmidt, and then said, "But I think it's Pete Alonso." And I'm telling you, I felt like because Pena said it's Goldschmidt, you know what I'm saying? Like,
but here's the thing, Dad. Pete Alonso's not even second. So I don't care if that was the reason why. Then Nolan Arenado should have been second. He leads the National League in WAR.
They didn't even have him listed. They had they listed Goldie, Alonso, and Freeman. Those were the
Pete
three
Alonso's
they listed.
Not even second, MVP, and first baseman.
Can you send a well-written email to Jim Thome and MLB Network?
I love Jim Thome so much.
Same.
He seems like one of the best dudes ever.
Yes.
And he's one of the greatest players of all time. He has over 600 homers. But have you watched Freddie Freeman, Paul Goldschmidt play, and then watch Pete Alonso play? And you're going to tell me he's as good as them because he's not. He's at anything.
Like I said, Nolan wasn't even on the graphic.
And neither of those two guys got tackled by Stubby Clapp.
I know what I was going to say. Just circling back just for a second. I think that like the coolest live moment for me was your mom and I were there when McGwire hit 62. That was the coolest live moment, baseball wise, I've ever been at.
Apparently, it didn't
So,
even matter.
well,
It was illegitimate.
well,
By the
I
way, did you
don't.
see the picture circling of Roger Maris Jr. there high-fiving Mark McGwire after he hit his 60-second home run?
Yeah, they were all there. They like followed him around.
And now he's saying it didn't count.
Yeah,
Was he
this
high-fiving him saying this doesn't count? And high five didn't count.
this man needs pub. I guess I don't
Can
know.
I
He
be
needs to stay
honest
with.
with you? Okay, can we get there? Actually, well, we need to get Aaron Judge later. Let's stick with the Cardinals for now. But I do want to talk about
Yeah,
Aaron Judge. Anyway, we're talking about the NL Central champions. Obviously, it's great. There are some people that are like, well, yeah, they should have won it. Well, they did. So even if they should
right,
have, they did.
right.
The
And you
Brewers,
look.
for them to go out there and to have all these moments and not get distracted is the most impressive thing to me. I mean, it could have been. This is one of the greatest regular seasons I've ever witnessed. The best as a Cardinal fan, just because of all the things that happened, and just the most enjoyable every day to tune in and watch. But you have the Albert, the Yachty, the Wayno stuff, and then you have Nolan and Goldie playing every day. You have all these young guys coming up and being great. You have the best reliever in baseball, or second, whether you want to put Edwin Diaz ahead of him or not, and Ryan Helsley. It's just been a great year, but I mean, it's the first step. Like they said that in the interview. I don't know how they got the in the room for the speeches. That never happens. That probably was
That
not
was
on
awesome.
purpose.
Yeah.
But like I said, it's the first step, and you have to get to the. I mean, and people say that they shouldn't celebrate as much as they did. I mean, that's the first step, man. You're crying out
Who says that?
162 games. A lot of people on Twitter,
Well,
but not
people
people.
who've
They
never
just
played
I don't
baseball.
know. I don't know. They grinded out the season. They got step one done. Um, and now it's about getting Tyler O'Neill and Jordan Hicks healthy for me.
Yeah,
Those two need to be playing.
Agreed. One other thing I was going to say, and then I lost it. That's all right. Must not have been important. Let's get to postseason talk here a little. Oh, I know what I was going to say. Oh,
Go ahead.
okay,
go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Go ahead. Just go.
Well, what I was going to say is later in the show, so never mind.
Okay. The one thing before we get to postseason, I do want to shout out Lars Nootbaar. He's back on track, it seems. OPS over 800, by the way, for Lars Nootbaar on the season, which is freaking incredible. That's like an elite level player at this point. I'm 799. Sorry, it's 799 is what it's at right now. Only 67 points behind Pete Alonso, by the way.
Caleb, for our fans who listen, because you and I talk about OPS quite a bit, what is league obviously we know OPS plus, league average is 100. When we talk about OPS, give our fans what is league, like what is an average player's OPS?
I believe this year league average is right at 698.
Okay. Yeah,
it's
because
somewhere
I
around
feel
that.
like
It's like the 698 to 705 range. Normally it's around 710, but the league's been down this year. So it's just relative to the average.
The reason I say that, and I wanted you to get that out there, is because I feel like a lot of people, and I see this a lot on social media, that if somebody's OPS isn't over 800, they don't consider them. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, oh, they're only in the 750s. Well, that's 50 points above league average.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing when Nolan Gorman was getting shit on. He had a 730 OPS, and it's like, no, that's not eye-popping, and it's not MVP level player. But for a first-year guy to do that, that's really good. And Dylan Carlson last year had a really good season with OPS, like 760, and it doesn't look great because it starts with a 7, not a 9 like Goldie. But that's a really good baseball player. Like that's what.
Well, there are people out there who were saying they wanted Tyler O'Neill when he came back to be off the bench. I had a discussion with a certain group of humans over this yesterday. Since August 1st, he has a 777 OPS. Like he was
Let me ask you this question: is there a player on the team that can impact the game in as many ways as Tyler O'Neill?
No,
not one other one. Unless Tommy hits a homer somehow, but he's not as likely to do it. Tyler can impact it with his speed, his power, his base hits, his base running, his glove, his arm. He has the second best arm on our team. He is the most dynamic player on our team when he's going right. There's no doubt.
And also, I would argue that it's not even close to nobody has the ceiling in our outfield that Tyler O'Neill has. The proven ceiling, at least.
Yeah, I mean, he's not even a ceiling for him. He's done it. Like that's
what I'm saying. Like we know what he can do. I'm not saying he can't do more. I'm saying we know what he can do.
If you were to give me a ceiling for Lars Nootbaar and Dylan Carlson, it still wouldn't be what Tyler O'Neill did last year. So that's
what I'm saying.
You know
that's what I'm saying. And also, like I said, from August till he got hurt in early September, 777 OPS, 9 home runs, 25 RBIs, and 6 stolen bases. Who else does that in our lineup?
No one. Tommy.
And yet we got Cardinals fans saying he should be on the bench. What, you want Dickerson or Juan Yepez in the outfield in a postseason game?
I did see that as well. I mean, no offense to either of those two. Also,
No,
okay, let's get to
zero,
postseason. You want to get to
zero.
postseason because I want to talk about Corey Dickerson and how he can be on the roster because he can't.
He's going to be.
He shouldn't be.
Okay,
He's
so
useless.
we talked about this with Mike last time with the 13 at bat, with the 13 batter. So let's talk about it because then I want to get to pitchers with you anyway. This is where I was heading before you want to talk about that. You got the two catchers. We know that.
Yeah.
Right? You've got Goldie and Albert, so there's 4. Tommy and Donovan, that's 6. Nolan is 7, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Carlson, Newt is 9. Now, that leaves you 4 players. Obviously, if Tyler is back, that's 10.
I'm
so
just counting him now. I think he'll be back.
Okay, so that leaves you 3 hitters. My guess is Paul DeYoung is going to be one of them.
I think Juan Yepez will be one of them.
So that's 12. That leaves you 1 guy. So that's you're going with DeLuzio over Dickerson?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because who in that starting 9 are you pinch hitting Dickerson for?
No, I'm not going to argue with you, and he's not going to replace anybody defensively, which, by
Or
the way,
running.
it also, to be fair, Paul DeYoung's a useless spot. Let's just be honest.
It just depends. I mean, if you want to go with him in the 9th inning to play defense and to strengthen your defense on the infield, that's fine.
Okay, if it's what, a 4-run game, not if it's a 1-run game.
Yeah, but we also got to realize that we're living in the age of the DH, so you don't need bench bats to come in and hit.
I agree.
You're not going to pinch hit for Tommy Edman in the 9 hole.
I'm going to be shocked if Corey Dickerson's not on the postseason roster,
Yeah,
but I agree with you. That's what I'll say.
But here's the thing: that if he's not getting 2 hits a game, he doesn't provide power. He doesn't walk. He can't play defense and he can't run. What if he is not on fire? He's not like doing anything for you.
I agree.
It's not a shot at him because I don't want to like come across as I'm hating on the guy. He's been a valuable player at times this season, but if he is slumping, he legitimately does not do anything to help your team win a game.
Well, he had what, a great 5-week stretch, 5 to 6 week stretch.
He's won for his last 27.
Yes. Yeah, I agree with you. And honestly, to me, DeLuzio does more because that is a late inning. Although if you have Tyler, Dillon, and Newt, I don't think you're putting DeLuzio out there for a defense.
No, but if you want to pinch run him for Yachty,
that's it.
On base, or Albert, if you're both in the lineup,
yes,
like then you would like that opportunity. Or Juan Yepez if he's starting a game. Like you'd like to have that versatility. You're sure it's not doing that with Paul DeYoung. He can't run.
And I think Mike Mike was on with us last time. He made a really good point actually that you could, if you decided to go Dickerson over DeLuzio, and I don't remember, that's not how he worded it. I'm paraphrasing what he said into what I'm saying. I mean, you could pinch run Paul DeYoung late in the game.
No.
Well, you could. Because he'd be faster than. I'll explain to you why. Because he's faster than Yachty and Albert. That's why.
I mean, yeah, but you can still have Ben DeLuzio steal you a base and actually make an impact on the bases. Paul DeYoung won't. He'll just be average there. Like, and then no.
Yeah, I think it's going to be interesting to see what they do there. Again, also to be fair, like you're going.
They might carry 5. They might carry 5 bench bats for the wild card series. I don't know why you want it.
And only go 12 pitchers.
I would.
Yeah, they could.
Well, yeah, I mean, I would because why do you need 5 starters?
Well, then that's Dickerson.
Like if you choose not to pitch Wainwright, then just keep him off the roster. He's not coming out of the bullpen.
Right, I agree.
Yeah, so that's what I would do. I mean, personally.
Yeah, I think I agree with that. Because you're right. Like, who are you hitting Dickerson for? I mean, I don't know who that is. Unless it's Yachty against a tough right-hander, but I don't think you're going to do that.
Wouldn't you choose Yepez?
Against a tough righty? I don't know.
Yeah, I would.
Yeah.
I mean, he's had some great at-bats against tough righties this year. 2 hits off Corbin Burns. No way.
I think if we're going to be fair, Caleb, I think you're going to start 9 guys and they're going to play the majority of every game in that first series.
That's how it should be. That's a good thing.
I agree. Yeah, the only way, like you said, is if Albert gets on late in a game, in a close game, or honestly, Albert. Because with Yachty, it's hard to take him out and then put Kisner. Although Kisner's been fine, he did have 2 home runs this weekend. You could do that. I just don't know if they'll make that decision. We'll see. That'll be interesting.
He'd be the guy that I don't think they'd pinch hit for him. I think they would pinch around. Here's what I would do.
Agree.
I mean, here's the thing. I don't think even against a lefty, you change your lineup right now. Maybe the ordering of it, but I'm not taking Lars or Donovan out.
No.
They've both been great against lefties, and they play good defense. They run. They both get on base and draw their walks against lefties. I'm not playing. I mean, no offense. Juan Yepez has been all right since he's come back, but he's not playing over those 2 for me, even if lefties in.
No.
Not in the postseason where starters get pulled quick. And you know with that, with your
it looks like you're going to play the Brewers or the Phillies, who in the first 2 games aren't going to start a lefty probably anyway.
No, I mean, Dad. Here's the thing: if this goes down the wire, we're not facing Corbin Burns in the wild card series.
That could
He'll
be,
be
or Zach Wheeler.
no, he'll be set up to pitch that Wednesday, the last day of the
Yeah.
season. Corbin Burns.
Yep.
So you don't have to worry about him if they make it.
It is. We've been on here for a little bit. We forgot to tell everybody we got postseason tickets for Game 1.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm all excited and horrified that I wasted $90 to be absolutely soul crushed.
Fifth row bleachers. They came today. I've got them they're in the old wallet. We're good to go.
That's the only thing that scares me is that we're gonna go and they're gonna lose, and I'm gonna be sad in public and have paid for that. That's horrifying me, but I'm really excited.
We'll do some pre-gaming to get everything right there. First of all, I don't bet on or against the Cardinals. I just don't. All right.
I'll bet on them.
But that game here in Busch Stadium, Albert in the playoffs again, the last ride. It's going to be hard for me to believe that I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to say it because I don't want to put the juju out there. I'm just saying that St. Louis is going to be electric.
It's going to be wild. Here's what I want to talk about. I want to talk about a little bit on matchups. We can get a little bit more on the roster as we get closer. I think Jack Flaherty's next start's going to give us a good idea of where they could go with the roster. And for all these people saying they've made their minds up that Wainwright's going to start the game, if Jack Flaherty goes out there and punches out 12 and throws 7 scoreless, they're not starting Adam Wainwright in the wild card game. I'm sorry, it's not happening. Not with Ollie running the ship. I don't know if Adam would even let them. So here's my thing. They're in a great spot right now because the Brewers and the Phillies, either or, are going to back into this spot, I think. I don't see one team just running away with it. So it's not going to be one team going off. It might be both. One team going 4-3 in the last 7 and one team going 3-4. That might be the difference. I think they put. I mean, neither of these teams scare me, but I think personally, you can tell me what you think. I would rather face the Brewers. I know their pitching is really good. If they have Burns and Woodruff going, I'm aware those guys are great. But man, you just feel like they don't have anybody that scares you. The Phillies have about 5 or 6 guys that can kind of scare you at their lineup.
Yeah, the only guys honestly in that, and I hate to say this, because here we go again. Now you're putting the freaking
we
bad
can look at it objectively.
But honestly, Andrew McCutchen kills the Cardinals. He does, right? And then Rowdy Tellez has a big moment sitting in his bat if the bat chooses to deliver. That's about it.
Well, Willie Adames has been really good this year.
Sure.
Those 3. And Christian Yelich, he's there. But here's the thing. You look at that Phillies lineup, they've got legitimate boppers. I mean, you don't want to face Rhys Hoskins in a big situation. You don't want to face Kyle Schwarber. You don't want to face Castellanos. He loves being booed, and he will be booed if he's here. You don't want to face Bryce Harper, one of the best players on earth, and JT Realmuto, the best catcher on earth.
Alec Bohm,
I mean, yeah, but he's not as good as
who's been great.
Yeah. He has been. That's what I'm saying. So that's 6 guys. That's what I was saying. And Gene Segura is a little slappy, annoying guy. So that's 7. The Brewers are the obvious choice for me here. And is there a big difference between Burns and Woodruff and Nola and Wheeler if that's who you end up facing? Not really. So I'm going Brewers all the way. Even if they beat us and this makes me look dumb, that's the team I'd rather play as of now.
Yeah, I understand that. And I think honestly, originally I was Phillies. Like I wanted to play the Phillies because I didn't want to face Burns and Woodruff. But Wheeler and Nola aren't any slouches. And like you said, that lineup for Philly way deeper than the lineup for Milwaukee. And also Philly, well, I was going to get to this later, but they're choking it away. They just got swept by the Cubs. The Cubs swept them this year. Did you know? Listen to this fun fact.
What?
Yes,
that's crazy.
6-0. The Cubs have the second best record in the National League against teams above 500. Only the Mets have a higher winning percentage. And the Cubs are 32 games back from us. So don't tell me that it matters how you play against winning teams.
It does to some extent. But here's the thing, when the playoffs start, man, everything is different. None of that stuff matters. But the thing for me is I think Nola, Wheeler, Burns, Woodruff, they can all shut you out. They're all good enough to shut you out on any given night. And as a fan, you can't really be that mad because they're just that good. But what team do you feel comfortable with your starters being able to shut out as well until you get to the bullpen? And also the Brewers' bad bullpen. Their bullpen sucks. I'll be honest with you. It's Devin Williams and nobody else. Matt Bush has been bad. Taylor Rogers, I mean, he doesn't want to face us. He'll probably shit himself if he's Albert again. I think it's obviously the Brewers. I don't want to face David Robertson and Yuri. I mean, who was the other guy out there that had
Sir Anthony Dominguez?
Brad Hand. No way. Give me the Brewers all day. If the Brewers beat us, they beat us. But I think that's their best chance to win the series.
Yeah. I'll take my chances against any of them. I'm not going to lie because I don't think the Phillies are playing well. Bryce doesn't look right since he's come back from the injury. Yeah. Obviously, Schwarber can get you at any time. Any of those guys can get you at any time, but they also strike out a lot and they also pop out a lot. So, I mean, to be fair, I'm okay with either team because I just have right now, and I know they've struggled, and I know everybody wants to talk about the offense has struggled, whatever. I still have the utmost confidence in the St. Louis Cardinals at home in a playoff series where they're not going. It's like you're home for 2 games and going to Philly. You're not leaving your bed.
No.
Do you know what I mean? Like that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, and it's like you said, it's 3 years in a row. I mean, it's the Cardinals have one of the best home records in baseball. Just straight up one of the best in baseball. I actually want to look that up to see what theirs is. But they have their home record, like they're a fantastic home team. They know how to they built their team for their stadium. They really did. I mean, at home they are 51-27. That's fantastic. That's even with the Mets, it's slightly worse than the Dodgers to put it into perspective.
Yeah, and
And they play the
everybody's talked about
Pirates this
this.
weekend.
And obviously, we've talked about the Cardinals stretch where they lost a few games and their offense struggled, but they still have the second best record in the National League since August 1st, 36-18.
Behind the Dodgers, I'm assuming.
Of course.
The Dodgers, they're so ridiculous. They had the best. You can look at any timestamp except for maybe a week, like 1 week period, and they are the best at everything.
Let me ask you this, and I feel like this is always a slight to Dave Roberts, and I don't mean it to be, but is Ollie Manager of the Year?
In the National League,
Well, it wouldn't be the American League.
No, I'm just trying to think of who. Like, I want to give the Snicker. You know who's going to win it, and he shouldn't. Buck Showalter.
Yeah.
And here's why I say he shouldn't. He has the best. He has the second highest payroll. He should be good.
Right. Which is why, like, I don't mean a slight to Dave Roberts because he does have the highest payroll, but he's also Dave Roberts is a very good manager. Like now, he has had some issues, I think, with handling. We saw Max Scherzer in the playoffs last year with handling his rotation, but that's a lot of guys. But I think Ollie has to be right there when you look at all the injuries, but also you had Albert coming back, first year manager. But I think you're probably right. The New York media, and I don't mean to take shots at the New York media. I'm not doing that, but I do think Buck Showalter probably has.
If they lose the division and he wins, I'm going to go ballistic because then there's no reason for it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Dave Roberts is really good at managing egos, and that's not easy to do by any means.
Yeah.
So it's hard. It's not easy. Like, look at some of the teams around the NBA, Nets, where you get all these guys in there, and yeah, they're really good, but if they don't mesh together, you're not going to win. They've picked up Freddie Freeman, Trey Turner. Like, their nucleus just keeps turning over. Mookie Betts. Like, their 3 best hitters were not there when he got there. The 3 best
Well, it
players.
shows you what makes Steve Kerr so special. Like, if we're going to be honest, and what made Phil Jackson so special. Like, those guys, Dave Roberts, so special. I mean, I'm also, to be fair, I love both Buck Showalter. So I'm not mad if he wins. Like, I'm a fan of Buck Showalter.
Well, I just don't think he's the best manager.
Yeah, well, I know. I mean, and that's so subjective. Like, it is so hard.
It's also kind of a dumb award.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. They have it.
You're not in there. You don't know what they're doing to manage their team. You're just looking on the outside.
Right.
You have no idea.
Yeah.
Speaking of managers,
okay. Do you want to look at postseason pitchers and just kind of?
Yeah.
Okay, so here's what I'm thinking. Right now, in my opinion, it's Miles game 1 and Q game 2. Like that's how I've got it set up. And then you get to game 3 and you've got options, which tells me. I mean, here, let me ask you this: do you put all 5 starters on the postseason roster?
All four of them. Wainwright would not be on unless he's starting. So the other 4, yeah.
Okay.
That's no slide at Waino. He's just not a reliever. There's no value you're going to get out of that. And also, I would want him being ready to pitch an NLDS if we won. So he would not be pitching for me. Here's the thing that I'll say. It depends on who you face. If you're facing the Brewers, Monty's throwing, and so is Quintana. They're the worst team in baseball against left-handed starters.
Okay. All right. That's good. That's great. That's good. That's good journalism again.
Thanks. Like to the point to where the Milwaukee media was like, they just got these 2 guys for us. Like if we face them, we're not hitting them. And Quintana shoved it yesterday. Monty's been great against them. So those 2 would probably be starting for me if we're facing them. But Miles gets game 1 because Miles has been really, really good against the Brewers this year as well. So if you're facing the Brewers, man, you set up really well to be able to take that from them.
Okay, now let me ask you this:
against them,
knowing that let's just say you're playing the Brewers. Honestly, let's just say you're playing the Brewers or the Phillies, because discount Monty maybe against the Phillies, even though Harper. I'm just saying, whatever. Okay.
Yeah.
In the bullpen, you're looking at Matt, Romero, and Zach Thompson, right? From
Romero's
the left side.
Not in my bullpen.
He's not. Okay, explain
why.
He's
not reliable. He's horrible. He's been horrible for his last 5 outings. He was horrible. He
You
didn't get
seem
out
to love
yesterday.
him.
I don't care. He didn't get out yesterday. He put him in the dugout. He's not pitching.
Okay.
He's
Okay.
not.
So you think they go? So if Monty's not in the starter, is he in the bullpen? Do you think?
I mean, I'd put him out there.
Yeah,
I'm
me
not.
too.
I'm not gonna get him warm unless I really, really need him. But you might as well have him.
Yeah.
What would you rather have him or like a Malik Burleson? What's going to be more valuable to your team potentially?
I agree. I'm just saying if we're looking at 12 to 13 pitchers, like I think especially when you're looking at Schwarber and Harper, you know what I mean? I think those extra lefties could be very big. That's all. That's where I'm coming from.
Yeah, I mean, those two are the two scariest hitters on that team. I think. I know Real Music's had a great year, but when you look at those two guys that can just flip a game like in the snap of a finger, those two, you need to have lefties for them just about every time they come up.
So let's just say right now, all right, just right now. Let's leave Wayno off because of health concerns. So this can change. Understand that.
Yeah, if he's
right?
great on Sunday, we can have a different conversation.
Right. But let's just leave him off right now and let's just take a look at if we're going with the three that you just said, Miles, Q, Monty / Flaherty, right? One of the two.
Those would be my two options, yeah.
Right. The other one's in the bullpen. So there's four, right? We just said that we like Zach Thompson and we like Matz from the left side. That's six. Obviously, you got Gio and
maybe Cabrera as well.
Well, I don't know.
Is he up yet? Back. I would hope that they bring him up and see what he can do against the Pirates.
Yeah, me too. You got Gio and Helsley at the back end. That's 8. Let's hope Jordan Hicks. That gives you 9. Stratton makes 10. Back. Stratton makes 10, right? Is Dakota
Hudson before Stratton?
I think they're both on it.
Maybe with Palante's for sure. He's on it no matter what.
So that's 11. All right. That gives you 1 to 2 guys. Could be Cabrera. Could be Romero, even though you don't agree with that. It could be Dakota Hudson. Is he an option, do you think?
He'd be on mine.
Okay. All right.
I like what he can do for you. He's so versatile as a pitcher. I like what he can do.
Okay.
And he looked really good lately. So I put
Am I leaving somebody out, by the way?
Jake Woodford.
Jake Woodford. Jake Woodford.
I just don't. You can't have him and Dak both on it.
That's what I was going to
cancel each other out.
That's what I
think Dak has way more upside in that role. Just because he can give you multiple innings, and when he's on, man, he's really good. So I don't know. I think the hope really is you win the first 2 games, can rest for a day, and you just don't have to worry about it. But man, I don't know. I'm glad I don't have to make these decisions. It's going to be tough for Ollie to have some of these conversations.
I agree.
And there's going to be some conversations. I'm sure they say you're not on this one, but we'll probably have you on the LGS one. It's a longer series. We're probably going to need you. But for the Wild, I mean, you just got to have your best 26 guys, man. They're the best you can throw out there for 3 games and give it all you have, because you can lose that thing quick. Quick.
Let me get your take on this, because I know where I stand. All right, and I stand in the Dusty Baker mantra of playing the rest of the season when you've already clinched, and that is I want to see our 9 guys in the lineup the next 6 nights. Because here's the thing, when you're not playing meaningful baseball, you saw, I mean, obviously the night after the celebration, you can discount that. I want to see them getting ready. Every one of them needs to get ready for that weekend. And if you want to give a guy a couple innings off, or even if you want to give a couple of them a day off, I just don't think we need to see Alec Burleson getting 35 at-bats in the next 6 games.
No, unless you really think you might want to see him on your roster, unless that's the case. Like, if that were to be the case, then you do.
What have you seen from him to make you want him on your roster?
He had a really good at-bat against Devin Williams for a base hit yesterday.
Outside of that?
I mean, that's one of the best pitchers in baseball.
Okay.
You know who didn't do that? Juan Yepes. You guys are a double play.
Okay. All right.
But, yeah, I mean, I'm just saying, if you want to have a competition between those guys, that's fine. For me, Goldie and Nolan would play 4 of the next 6 games. They're not playing all 6. There's no reason to do that.
I'd like to see Goldie get going.
Those 2 guys have played so much. You need it. He had a hit yesterday. I just think you can take advantage of it. Give them 1 game off in each series. That's what I would do. Or maybe 5. If it's 5 out of 6.
That's what I'd like to see. 5.
They don't need to play every inning. No way.
And if we're going to be honest, I don't want to see Albert play first base at all.
No, and also here's what you need to do. Sunday I would have him playing first base. It's his goodbye at Busch Stadium, and I would. He'll be fine. If you want to tell him not to dive and go for a ball, then tell him that's fine. Who cares? Then say don't go for the ball.
Yeah, Sunday, by the way, is going to be awesome. I'm kind of bummed we're not going. But since we got tickets to game 1, I'm okay with it.
The tickets for that game are more expensive than the postseason game.
No, what's going to be awesome? That's going to be. I mean, that's the last 17 years, 20 years of baseball here in St. Louis. You know, I mean,
22.
so that's going to be real, huh?
22 was when Albert got here 22 years ago.
It's 2001.
Yeah, 22 seasons ago.
Yeah. So either way, right? That's gonna be really a cool
awesome.
moment. I got to remember to set my DVR on Sunday because I think we're gonna be gone. But also, by the way, just a few things. We're getting the house ready. This is the biggest pain in the ass that I've ever done in my life. How we allowed you to keep all that shit?
I mean, I have most of my stuff. I really need to find my charger for my MacBook. I have no idea where that thing is. I really need to find it.
You may have to go buy a new one.
No, I'm not giving them more money. I'll use Grace's. But
I'm telling you right now, cleaning this house, we had somebody come over to give us an estimate to clean the house. They wanted $300. Your mom said, I'll clean it myself. So thank God your mom's doing that tomorrow. We are having a yard sale. Biggest pain in the ass also.
When are you doing that?
Tomorrow, I got to be up at 5 a.m. Tomorrow and Saturday. So this is it. Look, tomorrow and Saturday, we got to get through. They're coming out Saturday night to look at the house. Your mom has kicked ass with this house. We've got it all. She got to clean it. That's it. We got it all ready. Then Monday they're coming out to take pictures, and then it goes up for sale. But this is the biggest pain in the ass. I will never buy a house again. I hope you and Grace end up together, and I hope you make a ton of money and you can buy a beautiful home. If you buy a beautiful home, never fucking leave it.
Okay. Well, why are we on like a renovation show now?
I just looked around my basement and saw my shampoo lying in the middle of the basement floor.
We're on like that flip show or whatever it's called, where they flip houses. I don't know what it's called.
That's the way to do it. Like you got to pay someone to do everything. Thank God we did have people out here helping us to do a lot of stuff. But this is, I'm telling you, dude, biggest pain in the ass of all time.
I'm sure. That's why, I mean, I'm going to have to move probably again.
So next Friday, you might have to carry me out of Busch Stadium.
I don't think I can do that.
Well, you might need to get a few buddies to help.
Okay. I had one thing. So, do we have anything with the Cardinals that's like pressing that we need to talk about? Donovan's looking really good, I think, lately. New's looking good. Nolan and Goldie look like they're getting back. I think they both look like they're taking better at bats.
Let's talk lineups. All right, let's just do that real quick. That's what I love, talking lineups. So if you're going against a righty, we're all pretty much Donovan, Newt, right? Then we go Goldie, obviously Nolan, Pujols, and Tyler, right? And then DC. Okay, so you'd push Albert back to 6. Mm-hmm. I don't think they do that.
They've already done that. He's batted 6th every game he's played against already.
Okay, all right. So then DC 7, Yachty 8, Tommy 9 kind of makes itself, right? That lineup makes itself. Mm-hmm. Do you change that against a lefty?
Yeah, I put Tommy or Carlson 1. I put Tyler 2, and then I put Albert 5, and then I would go in the 7-9. I'd probably move Tommy up to 6, and Carlson would be my leadoff hitter, I think. Tommy would bat 6 behind Albert against the lefty, and then I'd go 7 Donovan, 9 would be Newt, and then Yachty stays at 8.
Yeah, it's gonna be an interesting thing what he does there because, like I said, I think
itself as well though. You kind of just flip flop like Carlson and Tommy, and you can keep Tyler in the 5 even if you want. I don't know. Or you can put Albert in 2-hole. He's like doing that against lefties as well.
I kind of like Donovan leading off, no matter if it's a righty or a lefty. I'm not gonna lie.
I mean, Carlson's batting 320 or something against lefties this year. Like you have to.
I think I'd put him in the 2 slot and then leave Tyler in the 5 slot.
I don't know, man. Do you want to get out? You might want to put Albert up there and say get the most at bats you can against his lefty. Yeah. Honestly, like you might want to do that.
Yeah, I love like I said, we've seen Ali not be afraid to change shit up, and I love that.
Well, not in the postseason. I don't keep it the same.
No, I agree, but I'm saying so he has options, like he has data and analytics and ideas, and he's not putting people in zones or in spots in the lineup where they've never been before. You know, we've seen that happen where people are like, I've never hit. I mean, Matt Carpenter not hitting leadoff. We saw what happened, right? So I think you've got so many options there. But again, if it's Milwaukee or it's Philly, we're going to see mostly right-handed starters. Rangers Suarez is a lefty, right?
Yeah, he wouldn't start though. I don't think.
Well, it depends if Wheeler has to go the last game or Nola has to go the last game.
Ranger's been a reliever multiple years in his big league career, so I think they could utilize that, and he could be.
So do you think that Syndergaard is their next guy? You think that's the next, or is it?
Syndergaard or Gibson, but I don't think you want to throw either of those two against the Cardinals.
Kyle Gibson.
I don't know. Yeah. Neither of those two have been very good lately.
Yeah, I agree.
So I don't know. I'm not. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm not tuned in enough in Philly to know
that's exactly
how they've been doing.
That's their 5 starters.
Well, I know, but I don't know how they've been doing lately. For me, unless it's Max Fried, I would, or the Dodgers because you're going to have to do it. I would be surprised if anyone's clamoring to throw a lefty against this team. That's almost an automatic loss.
Yeah, I think you're right. And, well, here's the thing, though. If Burns throws next Wednesday, you got Woodruff on Friday doing game one. But is that Hauser? Is that Ashby? Hauser's a lefty. Huh?
Hauser's hurt.
So who do they have?
It'd have to be Lauer, I would think. Or Freddie.
Is Lauer a lefty?
Is Freddie hurt again?
Lauer's a lefty. I think he's done. Freddie's done, right?
Then it would be Lauer. And then they'd have to. And then if they got to game 3, I would assume Burns would have to come back on 3 days rest.
On 3 days rest, yeah. Oh man, this is why I love this. This is fucking awesome. Like this time of the year is so awesome.
Like here's the thing: you really don't want Milwaukee to clinch this thing before that Wednesday. You want them to be tied going into that game, and you want them to both have to go full bore for it. No matter who ends up winning it. I know Philly has a tiebreaker, so if both teams were to win on that situation, they'd win it. But you want those teams to go all out for it, man. You don't want them to set their rotation at all.
I agree. And honestly, everybody looks at it. They are tied, but the Phillies are really a game up because the Phillies hold the tiebreaker. So if the Brewers want to get in, they have to beat the Phillies.
The Brewers are playing right now. They could be a half game up after today. I think they're winning too. They're tied right now, but yeah, the Brewers are winning right now. So if they win this game, they're half game up. And
that'll catch up.
And the Phillies play 2 games tomorrow, so they'll have even amount of games. So they'll even out.
Yeah, tomorrow. The Brewers have the Marlins and the Diamondbacks.
Yeah, and
who do the Phillies have?
The Phillies have the Astros for the last series. I'll see if they play tomorrow. Astros aren't playing for the Nationals, so it's going to be interesting.
Here's what I'll say. I'm glad we're not fucking one of them. That's what I'll say. We won because if you lose those 2 games, which we didn't, so ifs and buts were candies and nuts, we all know that expression. But if you lose that first game, then you're like all of a sudden the buttholes could get a little tighter if you're the Cardinals.
You're playing the Pirates for 6 games.
I understand. I'm just saying, like now
once they got to 8.5 games about 2 weeks ago, there was no way for this team was going to lose.
The problem if you would have lost the 2 in Milwaukee is you don't own the tiebreaker then.
That's true, but then you just have to win like 3 games.
Right, obviously. But I'm just saying, like, then it gets a little more like, oh, we better, you know what I'm saying?
It could have gotten interesting, but they took care of their business.
But it didn't. So, who the fuck cares?
I'm just going to enjoy watching it. I'm probably going to watch that Milwaukee game when we get done with this, actually.
Yeah, I got the NFL game on. It looks boring as hell, so.
Is it really? It's supposed to be a good matchup. Who's winning?
Yeah, Bengals are up 7-6 on the Dolphins. First of all, I've watched the NFL the last 2 weeks. I mean, I didn't watch much of it 2 weeks ago because we were out of town. But I watched it. The offenses are fucking terrible.
They're really bad right now. Everyone seems out of sync. It's weird.
Like, it's so odd. Like, very bizarre. Yeah, I don't know. Very bizarre. I don't know what to say. Anyway, so let's go. Anything else you want to talk about with the Cardinals clinching? Albert 700. Obviously, Sunday is Yachty, Waino, Albert's last day at regular season game here at Busch, which will be, like I said, it's going to be so fucking cool. I'm sad that I'm not going. I'm okay with it because we're going on Friday, so I'm all right with it. Anything else that you wanted to look at, dig in? Okay, let me ask you. Word on Tyler and Hicks. Is there any updated injury news on either of those two that you know?
Both are doing baseball activities. Mosaic kind of said both of them have a pretty decent shot at being in the postseason, but they're running out of time. So they've really got to make some progress the next couple of days.
Do they have to play in one of those that you don't think? You think they could come right back?
I think what they've said is that with Tyler, the way it's looking is if he's going to be back, they're going to have to ramp him up some other way probably, and he's just going to have to be inserted in the lineup.
Simulated games.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
That's all you can do.
If someone needs a bullpen, if Jake Woodford, someone needs a throw, that's what you do. And if I'm them, though, and he's going to be ready to go that day, I mean, I just bring him back and let him play the last game against Pittsburgh just to see something.
Yeah, I think
if he can't play that, then he can't play the
postseason. Yeah, I'd like to see him play a couple games.
I don't know. Sure. I don't know what they're going to do. They aren't going to come out and say everything yet. They also all were away from the team while Tyler was in St. Louis. So I'm assuming they don't know exactly how he's feeling. Right. We'll know more soon, I would think.
Does anything look more fun than one of those celebrations?
No.
It looks awesome.
How sad is it that the dream of being able to be in one is gone for both of us?
Well, mine went away a long time ago. I had that glinting dream for about 2 years. And it was my dream. No one else really realized that I was a thing. But then, yeah, I mean, whatever. It'd be what it'd
Imagine
be.
being, Trevor Plouffe played 10 years in the show and never made it to the postseason.
I know. That
That's
would be worse.
horrible.
Can I say that? Well, no, I'd much rather play in the show. But you know what I mean.
That's not
like
worse. That is not at all worse.
Right. That'll be bad. Goggles or no goggles if you're in there?
No goggles.
Oh, I'm sporting the.
No, you're not.
First of all, you have seen me try to put eye drops in. I get I go through a thing a day because I don't want anything in my eyes. I could not imagine champagne. Like I almost cry when shampoo gets in my eyes.
If Skip Schumacher sends me a text and says enjoy the burn like he did to the rest of the team, I'm not wearing fucking goggles.
I'm wearing goggles, hands
no, you're
down.
Not. Now if Skip Schumacher tells you not to.
Well, half the team had them or more.
No, they had them on their head. They weren't putting them on.
A lot of them. I'd have them on. I don't care.
Lars Newpart
said Skip, love you, buddy. Sorry about it. I'm wearing them.
Lars Newpart said it was a style choice to put it on top of his head. By the way, shout out Skip. I believe he had a family emergency. He had to fly back to LA for the night after the night they clinched. Actually, I believe. So hopefully everything's good there. But I just saw that other day. And Yachty was the bench coach. That's something we can hit on. Yachty was the bench coach for the last 2 games. Yeah. I think it's kind of cool.
Speaking of, nice segue. Again, that journalism degree at U of I is paying off. Shout out to Yachty for being named the Puerto Rico manager for the World Baseball Classic.
Cool.
Nobody better you could choose. I don't know if Yachty goes into managing, but I think he will. I honestly believe I could see him becoming a major league manager soon.
I don't know, man. I mean, he couldn't even stay here with us for most of this year. So is he going to do that?
Well, he might have to sell the Puerto Rican basketball team.
I don't know. I mean, he might want to. I don't know Yachty, obviously, personally at all. And some people will, like Carlos Beltran, want to do it. Some people, like Alex Rodriguez, don't want to do it. And that's the bad example, but you know what I mean? Those are just 2 Latin players I thought
of. Well, Bonds was a hitting coach and was incredible at it and said, I can't deal with these people.
He made Christian Yelich good.
Yeah, he did. And Ozuna and Stanton.
I wonder who taught Yelich to be bad again.
I mean, I don't know who's there. I don't know who the Brewers hitting coach. See, that's the thing. No, here's the thing. I get a kick out of everybody saying, again, circle back. Fire Jeff Albert, hire Matt Holliday or Mark McGwire. Well, we already had McGwire. He's not coming back. Matt Holliday is living his life, and maybe that is a future guy. I don't know, but he's living his dream at Oklahoma State with his brother, and he gets to watch his youngest son play baseball. He's not coming here. Also, look around the league. There aren't any Hall of Famers running as hitting coaches in Major League Baseball. In fact, there are a lot of guys. Look at the Dodgers. They got guys who didn't play in the league either. So don't tell me they have to play in the league. Albert was hired for his philosophy to work. Right now, our offense is deeper than it's ever been in this system. It's worked. Whatever that is, whatever that's worth, that's working.
Well, it directly aligned with when Randy Flores and Jeff Albert both took over the things. So I'm not going to think it's a coincidence. I don't know. I don't even know who the Dodgers hitting coach is, but apparently he's
some guy named Robert Sayak, and Brant Brown is also there. Brant Brown did play in the league for he was like a fourth outfielder for a while for some teams. But Sayak never made it out of college.
The thing that just drives me nuts, man. I mean, these players.
Sayak, no clue how to pronounce his name.
How can you in one breath say Jeff Albert Station needs to go, and then in the next breath shit on the player that did bad? It's one of the two. You can't blame them both. So if you think Jeff Albert's fault, then blame him. If you think it's Tyler Neal's fault that he's striking out a lot, blame him. But if you're blaming both, then you're just wanting to blame people. I don't understand.
I think it's just people are so mean. They're just so negative.
Sports just hard. Hitting is the hardest thing to do in all of sports. I will stand by it. Maybe I'll even score a goal in hockey. It's the hardest thing to do. So for me, who am I to tell him? I don't know what Jeff Albert does in there. I know
if you're successful 3 out of 10 times, you're in the Hall of Fame for the most part.
You are. Albert literally said that Jeff Albert helps him find his swing this year, and nobody heard it. I read it in The Athletic, and nobody has mentioned it at all.
Yeah.
Dude, Albert Pujols, one of the greatest players of all time, said Jeff Albert helps him get to 700 home runs. And we're saying fire him.
Last thing I'll say, because it does you and I both very logical thinkers for the most part, right? I have my emotional moments. There's no doubt we all do, but very logical. Let's take this statement and see. Where did it come from? Who said it? And does it logically make sense? What kills me is the reason Cardinals offense was great in August was Albert Pujols' influence. They go to crap in September. It's Jeff Albert's fault. That does not make sense.
And look in the dugout, man. Every time you will see people flocking around Jeff Albert and talking to him. That is not a coincidence. They like the guy and they enjoy what he does with them.
Yeah.
And honestly, if you're a fan, why do you give a fuck who our hitting coach
Right.
is? I just care if they like him. I don't care. I don't care if I like
some
him.
guy said, "Why do I never see the players around Jeff Albert in the dugout?" And I was like, "Well, one, you're not there, but two, do you actually watch the games?
They're
Because
all around him all the time. He's with Albert all the time.
entire
He's with
time.
Yachty all the time. Him and Bader were extremely close. Him and Nolan and Goldie and Nolan both have shouted him out about what success they've had. I like Jeff Albert. I think he's done a good job. But I also just do not care about who our hitting coach is because I don't think they matter as much as you think they do.
Agreed. And it was the same thing with John. Like, and here's the thing: you and I have been critical in the past of Albert because we didn't know. Like, to be fair, we were kind of questioning what is happening here.
But at the time, our offense was horrible, so it was a fair criticism.
But the funny thing was, people wanted John Mabry fired after 3 straight years of one of the best offenses in baseball. Then they went down the pooper, and now all of a sudden it's John Mabry's fault. Look, these guys are big league hitters. They have a routine. They know what they're looking for. Hey, I always kind of assimilate it to I coach girls golf. Right? I'm not a scratch golfer. I didn't play professional golf. I didn't play high school or college golf. But what I could do was look at somebody's thing and kind of put a Band-Aid on it. That's kind of what a hitting coach is there for. They're not going to show you how to hit a baseball. These guys know how to hit a fucking baseball.
Here's my thing. You know when Goldie came here the first year and he struggled, and was Jeff Albert our coach at the time?
Was it he and Buddha or was Buddha already gone?
I don't remember. But so they were blaming the hitting coach. And all I can think is, do you think Jeff Albert went up to Paul Goldschmidt and said, "Hey, you're on a Hall of Fame trajectory. Change everything and do what I want"? No, Goldie would literally pick him up by his throat and say, "Don't talk to me like that." And throw him out.
It is funny.
They have hitting meetings with the hitting coach with all the hitters. You think that Jeff Albert goes in there and says, "Hey, Nolan, Albert, Yachty, Goldie, hey, and all you 4 Hall of Famers, sit down. Let me take this one. I'll just run the whole thing." No. It's a part.
What you've done your entire life has worked, and you're going to all be in the Hall of Fame. Fuck it, we're doing this tonight.
I genuinely think it is. I think it's because when you don't make it to a high level, like I didn't, you didn't make it to the high level, and all these people that are talking like this didn't make it to the high level. You are used to the high school coach telling you what to do, and this is how you do things. When you are in, there's a reason that they call each of their coaches their first name in the big leagues. It is a partnership. It's not them controlling you. This isn't the 60s anymore. So they work together. He doesn't make them do stuff. They work together and find the best ways for each other to be successure. That's what they do.
These guys, a lot of these guys, I think, are spending their weekends telling their kid to get their elbow straight like this. Which, unless you're this guy, that doesn't work.
I mean, what do you think? Do you think hitting coaches really did as much as I think people think they do in terms of trying to change people's swing? Kevin Youkilis would not have looked like he did when he was hitting the baseball.
Or Craig Counsell.
He would not have been like this if they were trying to teach mechanics. That's not what they do. So just
So anyway, we spent too much time on that, but I just think that we got to stop. Like
we have one of the best offenses.
I get it. We lose. We go through a slump. That's fucking baseball. Things happen. Everybody, and this is 2022, and it's probably been like this for. It's got to be someone's fault. That's the problem. Everything has to be someone's fault. When that's not the case, we played baseball at whatever level. That's irrelevant. It's a hard game.
Yeah, and if there were coaches that could just make you get out of slumps like that, they'd be getting paid a lot more money.
Right. Yeah. And also, by the way, the pitchers today better than ever.
Greg Popovich. This is a different sport. I get it, but Greg Popovich is one of the best coaches of all time in the NBA. His teams have sucked for multiple years in a row. Is it his fault? That's not how it works. So just stop. It's just sports.
They haven't sucked. To be fair, they made a lot of playoffs.
They were not great last year. To not make the playoffs
last year was bad. Last year was a down year. Well, they traded everybody, but okay.
I get it. But what I'm saying is that coaches are an asset, but they're not the end all be all.
Yeah, I agree. All right, let's take a look. Let's take a trip around baseball this week in baseball. Stealing that again from Mel Allen. I love it. We're going to keep it until somebody comes after us and sues us. So there you go. From? Mel Allen, This Week in Baseball. I told you we grew up on it. It was the greatest TWIB, This Week in Baseball. So we got to do it.
You did. I didn't.
I did. You did not. You didn't get to have that experience. It was one of the greatest experiences of all time. All right, let's just look through the American League. We've talked a little bit about the National League. Guardians clinch. Shout out to them. That's fucking awesome. Shout out D. Shout out Terry Francona. Love Terry Francona. Shout out to that team. You and I were very critical. We've been very critical about their owner not going and spending any money, about them not making any moves at the trade deadline. What are you doing? Hey, you know what? who cares what you and I say, right? Like we're schleps, doesn't
Well, at
matter.
the
It
same
worked.
time, I'll still criticize that. But when you get into the in between the white lines for 162, it's about the players. The owner's not there. It's about what those guys do and what they've done this year. What Ahmed Rosario did to take that leap to kind of a leap to a better player that we all knew he could be since he was a top prospect. And he finally did. Andres Jimenez, Jose Ramirez just does the same thing every year. Just one of the best players in baseball. Their rotation's scary. Tristan
Stephen
McKenzie, my
Kwan. Don't
God.
forget about Stephen Kwan.
I'm not gonna. I'm not. But Tristan McKenzie, my God, that guy's becoming one of the best pitchers
Love
in
Tristan
baseball.
McKenzie. Dude plays chess before every game.
He's incredible. Stephen
Love
Kwan,
him.
obviously great. Miles Straw out there just making ridiculous plays. He can't
And
hit,
can't hit.
but he can make some plays.
Said at the same time. Cannot hit, but he does play great
Oscar
defense.
Gonzalez, maybe the most underrated player in baseball right now.
Josh Naylor.
He's great.
I love the way that he plays. I absolutely love it. Man, it's going to be tough for me. It's going to be tough for me if they play the Mariners because you and I have been on the Mariners.
I'm rooting for the Guardians.
Yeah, I think I am too. Like
they're fun.
That's going to be tough though, that matchup. If it is, I'm hoping they play the Rays because I can't root for the Rays.
I can. I like a lot of players on the Rays, but
so do I. I don't know half of them. No one does.
I do.
But I agree. But also, you look at the back end of that bullpen with the Guardians with Karinchak and Clase. That's fucking nasty. And then you're going to go. I assume they're going to go McKenzie, Bieber, Quantrill. I assume that's what they go.
I would assume. That's tough to beat, man. I don't care who you are. In a 3-game series, you don't want to face that team.
And how does it set up now? Do you have that in front of you? If at the end of the day, will they play? Or is it Tampa?
It would be Seattle, but by one game.
Seattle's
1 game behind Tampa currently.
Yeah, I hate that. I hope Seattle.
J-Rod going to be back, man. I hope he is.
Looks like he could be. Now they did say, and I read or heard something that said there is a chance. But again, who knows? Who knows what that means?
I don't know. I mean, I'm happy for the Guardians. The White Sox, man, what a dumpster fire that's been for them. Tony La Russa not coming back next year, I don't think. I don't know if that's been announced officially yet. But I'd be
also
shocked.
Not fair to say the White Sox choked away the division. Give the Guardians some fucking credit. They won that division. It was a log jam. We talked about it on here.
Team, right?
It was a log jam, and they came out and what did D say? 93. Where are they at? We made fun of him, by the way, and I apologize. How many do they have now?
They're at 88. They're not going to get to 93.
They're not going to get to 93. But
they have to go 5-1, but I just don't know if they're going to go that hard for that. Yeah. So,
and even if they don't, they're not going to be far off. He was right there. I'm happy for him.
He said 95, but
I'm pumped for Drew Carey.
That's great. It's great for that team. I'm glad their first year of the Guardians was a success. Changing names. White Sox. I don't know what you're.
They're not selling any merch. I heard.
I have one. What?
They're not selling any merch. Like they thought their merch sales would be up and they're way down.
That kind of sucks. I don't like that because it's going to make them spend less money again. The AL West, I want to talk about the Astros for 1 second. Only one player. They're great. We know this. Jose Altuve is having a way better season than anybody's giving him credit for. I'm talking about one of the best seasons of his career, and nobody is talking about it.
Yeah.
Have you seen what this guy's been doing?
Very, very good. Yes.
Let me get to his stats real quick because they're they're ridiculous.
While you're talking about that, hopefully Yordan Alvarez looks like maybe he'll be back next week. We want the best players in the playoffs, so I'm hoping J-Rod is back. We need Tyler O'Neill back. We need Yordan Alvarez playing in the playoffs, and obviously he gets a little extra rest because they're not going to play that first round.
Okay, so Jose Altuve, Dad, having the second best year of his career. We remember the 2017 MVP, the obviously controversial. We all know. 160 OPS plus that year, Dad, with a 957 OPS. This tells you how much OPS has gone down this year. But this year, 159 OPS plus, so he's 1 point behind that with a 917 OPS. He's been 297. By the way, the dude's just a career 307 batter.
I know.
My God.
Hall of Famer.
Easily. He has freaking 28 jacks, 35 doubles. He's got 18 stolen bases. I mean, this guy's legitimately still one of the best players in baseball. And I think because of the cheating scandal, because he was so good for a few years, we take him for granted. But this guy's got a legit shot he's going to get to 3,000 hits.
He's only 32, right? Is that right? Did I see that? He's
32 years old. He has 1,929 hits. That dude's going to get to 3,000 hits.
Yeah, I think so.
If he averages 150 for another 5 years and maybe goes up a little bit after that, 170 maybe, if he can stay healthy. But my God, that guy, he's the best second baseman in baseball still, and nobody talks about him.
Staying out west. Shout out to to the Mariners for giving Luis Castillo a fat bag.
Shout out to Luis Castillo for staying in Seattle. I didn't know that was going to happen, and that's really good for both of them. I imagine being with Jesse Winken, even here Suarez probably helped that out a little bit. Good for them. Good for them to get. I
Yeah.
mean, that's an ace. Luis Castillo coming into this year, he had up and down years, and you kind of didn't consider him an ace. He was like that number 2 if he's on. He's a legit ace right now. Like that's an ace. That's a guy you can build your rotation around. Him and Robbie Ray, and then you got the young guys. I mean, that's great for them. I'm happy for him.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, speaking of Robbie Ray and Luke Weaver get kicked out for having a standoff. That umpire hates humans and fun.
I get it. I do. I get it.
I do too. I do too.
Remember when Andy Van Slyke was doing that? I've always thought, like, just kick him out. Like, at this point, it's been 10 minutes. I always get annoyed, too. He gave
Andy
him a
Van
warning.
Slyke?
It was Scott Van Slyke. Who's the young one?
Scott Van Slyke.
Scott Van Slyke, sorry.
And who
Andy
was the
Van
pitcher?
Slyke,
Joe Kelly.
yeah, that's
He was
who
the
it was,
other
I
one.
believe. That's who was doing it, I think, in the playoffs.
Yeah, Joe Kelly.
Yeah, so I get it. It is kind of, I get why it would be annoying. They have to start the game on time. It's like a rule. They need to do it. So when they're doing that, you have to kick them out if they're not going to move.
Yeah, man, Seattle having to go to Cleveland, that just still, I really hope Seattle catches Tampa. I really do.
I do too. But also
Yeah.
Tampa and Toronto would be a good series too.
Yeah.
I mean, that's going to be some fun. Those are 4
Canada
fun
dropped the
games.
vaccination thing, by the way.
I know, good.
Yeah.
It has
Finally.
to be. Yeah, I mean, whatever. I don't want to talk about
Another shout out. Colton Wong hit 3 jacks the other night. That was
that.
awesome.
Cool. Good for him.
As
I'm
someone
a
who's
big fan.
always loved Colton Wong, that's awesome.
Doesn't it
First of
still
all,
seem?
awesome dude.
Yes.
Hated to see him leave. Understood it. Made sense. Was actually on board with letting him go. Worked out. Right.
Yeah.
But 3, want
Back
to
when
see
you
him
did-
have mad success. I really do.
when you
I
were saying
am a
how
Colton
you-
Wong guy. He is an ambassador for the game in Hawaii, which we saw them win the Little League World Series. That was fucking awesome. Obviously Shane Victorino started that, and now you got Colton Wong, and you got some other guys coming into the league and at the college and minor league levels. That's awesome. I'm a massive Colton Wong fan. I was on board with him when everybody else seemed to hate him after he got picked off in the playoffs. And after he'd make a few errors and then wouldn't get hits, and they put him down to Memphis, they sit him on the bench. And I don't think they did him right this first few years, but then they did. Won Gold Gloves here. Big fan of his. That was cool to see him hit 3 jacks the other night.
That was awesome. I mean, he made a crazy play yesterday. I mean, Will Adames made one of the worst glove flips I've ever seen in my life, and he barehanded it. I don't know how he did it. He threw Juan Yepes out at first. Man, I'm always happy it always makes me smile when Colton Wong does anything. Even last year when we were losing the division and you wanted the Brewers to lose, you just can't be mad when he does something good, even if it's
No.
against you. It's like, oh, it's Colton. Like, good for him.
He just has fun. He just has fun.
I love Colton Wong. I still feel like he's sad he's not here. You still just get that vibe from him.
Absolutely.
Like that, which makes me sad. But I mean, he seems to be having a good time there in Milwaukee. So
in my mind, him
Colton
and
Wong
Devin
fan.
are really good friends.
They probably are.
I hope so.
I would imagine they are.
Any word on Spencer Strider? Because that could
It's
be
no
huge.
oblique. It's weird, man.
I
It's
know.
weird. You don't know. I don't think anyone. He probably doesn't even know.
Yeah.
I hope the Braves get a bye so he can come. So he can.
Well, and then, honestly, if we're going to be fair, like if we're going to be honest, even if they don't, you've got Fried, Wright, and Morton.
You have Fried Morton over. You're moving on.
Yeah,
the Padres, it's done.
Yeah, I agree. So, but I just again, I said it earlier. I want to see all the stars on every team playing. I don't want to see them.
My guess is
on.
Spencer Strider will be pitching at some point in the postseason. Now, will he be as a starter or will he come in the bullpen?
By the way, Michael Harris is hitting 3rd for the Braves right now.
He is. He's one of the best players in baseball. I'm just gonna say it.
They are in a massive pennant race to win the division. This kid is 20. He was at Double-A. Nobody thought he was gonna get above Double-A. He's hitting 3rd last night, and he's
a 140 OPS with a 5
for the
WAR.
fucking Atlanta Braves, the World Series champions. This dude is hitting 3rd.
Dude, he slid Ronald Acuna Jr. to right field and said, "Just move over. This is mine." He's the best. He's also maybe the best defensive center fielder in baseball. People don't talk about that.
Yeah. Also, by the way, speaking of, I'm really happy to see Harrison Bader have some success in New York.
Me too.
Did you get to hear him mic'd up the other night?
Yeah.
That was cool.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I can't watch stuff when he's there. I just hate it.
I hate it too. I'm with you.
I hate it. I really hate it.
He does look happy. He does look happy.
I mean, he's a happy guy.
Well, and he's from New York.
Yeah.
How
he was
cool.
a Mets fan, I think. I think that was.
No, he wasn't. He grew up a Yankees fan.
A Yankee fan? I think so. Good for him.
Yeah.
And he has a Statue of Liberty glove out there. That's cool.
Yeah.
It just makes me sad because I just don't like it. It was easier to stomach when he wasn't playing anywhere.
He was
Because you
talking, and they asked him who his favorite player was, and for some reason I should remember that. But he did talk about like Bernie and Jeter and Posada and those guys, and Mo and all of them. But yeah,
probably Nick Swisher, dude. He seems like a Nick Swisher fan, doesn't he?
he did not say Nick Swisher, but that would have been awesome. Or Brian McCann would have been awesome if he said either one of those guys. Love both those guys, by the way. Nick Swisher's electric. When he has a phone in front, or I mean a microphone in front, I love him. He's
has some
awesome.
iffy opinions, but yeah, he is. I like him.
I like his energy. Eric Burns, same way, the head coach of the Savannah Bananas.
Okay, let's get to the biggest thing that happened. Aaron Judge at number 61.
Yes.
So before we get into the thing that pisses me off, congrats to Aaron Judge. That is awesome. He's having to me the most impressive home run season of all time. That's how I'll put it. It's not the home run king. He doesn't have 74, but to hit the home runs against as many pitchers as he's hit him against, to hit him in this era of the pitching that he's facing, to hit 61 and over 20 more than anyone else. As of right now, he has 21 more than second, which I believe is Pete Alonso at 40. It is one of the, if not the most impressive home run seasons of all time.
And
so
to
he
add
deserves
to
all
it,
the praise in the world.
To add to it, he has a shot to win the fucking Triple Crown.
Yeah, I think he's going to too.
Last Yankee to win the Triple Crown. Go.
Last Yankee to win the Triple. Mickey Mantle.
Yep, 1956, which also one of the best offensive seasons of all time.
Well, he's one of the best players of all time.
Right. Yeah.
So he deserves all the credit. If he wins the Triple Crown and he wins the MVP, I still think Ohtani should win it. I think he's the most valuable player in baseball. But I have zero issue with Aaron Judge winning the MVP.
You and I have both been the Ohtani guys almost all year, but I am in 100% agreement. If Aaron Judge wins it, which by the way he's going to, right? He's going to. I'm okay. Yeah, because also let me add before you get to the but or the however. All right, before you get to that, because I know it's coming. Two things that I want to say. I have mad respect for anyone who turns down 200 and some million and bets on themselves, right? Because he just made himself a contract that starts with a 3 in front of it. Oh. All right, so
maybe a 4.
Because we hear about guys. Lamar Jackson's doing the same fucking thing in Baltimore, right? I love Lamar Jackson.
Horrible.
So, but for him to bet on himself, I mean, I don't know how you turned down 200 and some million, but he did because he knew his value.
He knew he was going to get more.
But two, the second thing I'll say is, in New York, we've seen the guys go through New York, and there have been a lot of class guys. There's also been a lot of knuckleheads. Everything you ever hear about Aaron Judge is awesome and positive, and everyone seems to love him. Like you hear that about some guys. You're like, oh, I don't. Are they really true? This seems legit. Aaron Judge seems like a fucking awesome dude.
He does. From everyone has said that. I'm very happy for him. I'll say that's where I want to start with this, because I've been an Aaron Judge fan since he came in the league, because he's just so much fun to watch. He always has been. He's so different than anyone you can see. He's as big as Giancarlo Stanton, but has as good of a swing as anybody in baseball. He doesn't swing and miss as much as he used to. He's just as complete of a hitter as you can be right now. And I don't want to take what I'm about to say as anything against him or what he's doing. One of the best seasons of all time. He deserves to be revered as that. He's going to be the MVP. Congrats to him. I'm happy for him. But two things that confused me.
I knew it was coming.
The one thing that confused me is that why this was such a big deal. That we were chasing 61 with Aaron Judge and interrupting college football games. Because he's chasing a Yankee record. And in New York, it should be a massive deal. To get any record for your team, that should be huge. And and even in the American League, I get it. But they kind of acted like it was on the same level as Albert Pujols. It wasn't. 61 is incredible. He's not the home run king. He's just not. If you're gonna, I don't even know what to say about this. Barry Bonds is the home run. He has 73 minus 61. I mean, okay. In the era where Roger Maris hit 61 home runs, I am not saying Roger Maris did this, but I'm not saying that he didn't, because I have no idea, but I know a lot of guys were. Every day, people were taking amphetamines, which got them up and got their bodies ready to play every day. Steroids, yeah, they get you big and strong. Amphetamines get you able to play every single day. Like every single day. The hardest thing to do in baseball is to play 162 and to be healthy. Aaron Judge has had his struggles with that. That's why his has been so impressive. There were people that had these records that were doing stuff like that equally as helpful as steroids, or maybe a tick below. But we cannot pick and choose what records we can and cannot say are records, because then you can go back and say, well, Babe Ruth should be knocked off home runs because how many of those were ground rule doubles? Oh, well, this record shouldn't count because the league wasn't integrated with African Americans And you can't go down that road.
I
The games were
agree.
played. Barry Bonds hit 73 home runs in a 162 game season. That's the record. Are there stipulations? Sure, if you want to say that. But there's stipulations. You can find stipulations in every record, probably. So Aaron Judge is having a phenomenal season. He's not the home run king. He is the American League home run king, which to me is equally as impressive.
He's tied. He's tied.
He will be the home run king within the next 5 days.
Now, let me ask you this, because this
Of
is
the
the
American
one that
League.
always gets confusing to me. All right. Because if you do want to argue apples to apples instead of apples to oranges, all right, which the Bonds argument's apples to oranges, the Babe Ruth are all right. Maris did it 154 games. Like that's like no one. I shouldn't say no one. A lot of people don't talk about that. 154 game was the season when Maris did it in 1961. That's unbelievable.
I mean, it's one of the best seasons of all time, obviously.
Like Roger, and also, did you know he was not intentionally walked once all year?
I think I told you that.
No, well, I heard it the other night. You might have, but I heard it the other night.
Oh, you're wrong, Dad. He played 161 games the year.
Oh, that was okay. Okay, then I apologize. I thought that was still a 154 season.
Nope.
Okay.
1961. Obviously,
okay.
Know that.
And I did. Never mind. That's why. So
for him, I didn't know that. That's cool.
That's why it's not talked about.
Yeah, it's not talked about because it didn't happen.
I honestly thought that didn't happen until later. So okay, there you go.
Yeah. So that didn't happen. So right. That's why people don't talk about it. But I would say
I was wondering why I hadn't heard anything. Well, that's why.
Babe Ruth did hit his 60 home runs in a 150 season. Though.
Correct.
But also, how many of those bounced over the fence? Like that's what I'm saying. You can go down these roads, and it's interesting to talk about. What happened here and this year. Baseball is a very weird sport with cheating has been like go look up Greenies. If you want to know the stories how long performance enhancing drugs have been. You say steroids and people freak out. There's not a lot of PEDs in the sport. There's been World Series thrown. There's been stuff happening that does not take away things. And here's the thing, Dad. If you Yankees fans are saying this, are we going to take away the 2000 World Series where Roger Clemens was shoving to get them the World Series? Or are we going to take away the 2009 one where A-Rod was their best player winning MVPs and won the World Series in 2009. So are we going to take away those 2 rings from you? And then you can say he's the home run king if we can do that.
Right. It's like, and I saw I think I saw this on Twitter, but I've mentioned this before. It's like when the NCAA comes in and says, oh, USC, you didn't win those national championships. Well, 20 million people watched them do it. So they did it. They did. Now, if you want to say we're not honoring that anymore, fine. But they did it. We fucking watched it. Barry Bonds hit 73 home runs. Also, all these high and mighty major league reporters now kill me because they were making mint off of those home run chases. And also, the 98 season brought baseball back. It was coming out of a dark time after the strike where they lost the World Series. So were they cheating? Here's the thing. Barry Bonds never failed an MLB drug test. Now, Balco says otherwise. Those were fucking sealed documents. Who the fuck knows?
Balco never accused Barry Bonds, I don't think.
It is in the report that he did. Yes, it is. But
here's
again,
my question to you, Dad.
Sealed reports.
My question to you. If MLB were to come out and say we're no longer honoring Barry Bonds' 73 home runs as the marker for the most in a single season, is that not defamatory to do without evidence that he actually was cheating?
Yes. It's also again, do it. I go back to the billions with a fucking B the Major League Baseball made off of the McGuire, Sosa, and I guess Palmeiro was there for a little bit with those chases. And then the Barry Bonds 73. Like, I remember every fucking human seemed to be in San Francisco when Bonds hit 71.
Dude, McGuire and Sosa saved the game of baseball.
Yes.
Saved it.
And so did Cal Ripken. Ripken had the streak going on.
But after the owners tried to kill the game of baseball, those 2 were there to save it.
Yes.
And the owners and everyone, the tie and mighty right now, were happy to line their pockets with the money they were making them.
Absolutely.
So I'm over it. I don't want to talk about it anymore. If you want to say these things I just don't understand it. You cannot pick and choose your history. America's history is not great. There's a lot of bad stuff in it. You can't ignore that slavery happened. So here's the thing. Baseball's history, it's very muddy. There's a lot of weird things that have happened, but you cannot wipe it away. It happened. Steroids happened. It was part of the whole era. And the whole era of players that did it. I mean, if you want to say that makes Ken Griffey Jr. what he did much more impressive because he was still the best player in baseball other than Barry Bonds, and he wasn't on steroids, then fine, you can make those arguments. But you cannot act like, especially Aaron Judge is out here saying that Barry Bonds is the home run record. Aaron Judge was a kid in San Francisco rooting for Barry Bonds. He does not want this conversation to be happening.
No, he
doesn't. Can we stop? Aaron Judge is having a fantastic season. One of the best ever.
Enjoy
He
it.
does not
That's
have
the key.
74 home runs. That's the only
Yep.
thing we can say here. He just doesn't
Yeah.
have 74.
I agree.
If he hits
Couple
another
things.
11 somehow, then give it to him. 12 or whatever.
Couple things before we get out of here. Braves Mets this weekend. Braves back one game. That's going to be awesome. That's going to be electric to watch.
Hopefully they can play it.
Orioles still hanging on somehow. 3 games till they're eliminated. 5 games back. They're not making it. But what a great year. That's what an awesome story. I don't know, man.
It takes one sweep one way and one sweep the other way.
Yeah, you're right. It does. I'm just saying, like.
Good for them, though. I mean, this season's a success. They have something to build on. Sign Anthony Santander long term, please. That's all I want.
We talk about them, and they've been number 1 in our power rankings for weeks. Which, by the way, we're not doing a power ranking this week. We will do a final one next week when we do we're going to do a playoff extravaganza.
I hate that word.
You don't like it? Spectacular. Playoff spectacular?
Playoff episode.
No, that's fucking boring.
I know, but
Star Wars had episodes.
You sound so old. Star Wars is not boring, bitch.
Playoffs episode 1, episode 2 was fucking boring as hell.
It was, but we didn't need to talk about those. They didn't happen.
Our playoff spectacular. Hopefully we have a couple special guests with us, so that'll be cool. Anyway, one thing I just want to. I feel like we take it. You and I talk on here a lot about trying not to take things for granted. Trying not to take Mike Trout. By the way, Mike Trout, 3rd in the American League right now in home runs. He missed 42 games.
He must be, because he's missed 42 games, he's the home run king.
I mean, but I don't want to take away from what he's done.
Oh, he's so incredible. He's the best player.
He and Alvarez have 37. That's unbelievable.
He's the best hitter on the planet still. I'll die on that hill.
So, and we talk about Harper. We talk about enjoying these guys. Enjoy the judge. Instead of trying to find what it is and what it's not, just enjoy it. But what the Dodgers have done this year is fucking unbelievable. Like, if we're going to be honest, what they have done is unbelievable. Tied the franchise record with 106 wins. They're now at 107. They have a plus 322. This was going into last night's game, so I did not update it. All right, I apologize. Plus 322 run differential. 304th all time. Now, listen, you ready for this? 4th all time. They're behind the 36, 27, and 39 Yankees. They could catch the 36 ones because they were at 333. But the 1927 Yankees had a 376 run differential. By the way, did play 154 games. The 1939 had a 411 run differential.
That's crazy. The thing that's
DiMaggio, baby.
I mean, yeah.
Right, wouldn't he have been on that 39 team? He had to be. Was he like a rookie then?
No.
Was he not there yet? Who would have been on 39?
Oh, actually, that might have been his rookie year.
That's what I was going to say. Was that his rookie year?
I think it might have been. I think it might. Hold on. Now I need to check this because I'm a big Joe DiMaggio.
I just speculated.
His rookie year was 36, so he was.
Okay, so I thought so. 36. I assumed Joe.
What year are you saying this? 39.
39.
Not only was he on the team, he was the MVP of the league.
There you go. See, and you tried to make me feel like I didn't know what I was talking about. Well, to be fair, I did think Roger Maris only played 154 games.
That is true. Yeah, I mean, what were we saying? Oh, that makes you wonder how the Mariners won 116 games
and then lost.
How good?
But anyway, what the Dodgers have done has been extraordinary.
How good they have been, and they still.
Why don't they scare me like they should? That's what I don't understand. I watch a lot of games, but for some reason they don't scare me like they should.
I think there's multiple reasons. One, we do this every year with them. They never win. They won once, and it was in a shortened season. So that is one reason, I think. 2, they don't have Walker Buehler. They don't have the scary Max Scherzer. They don't have the rotation they had last year, or even close to it.
They do have Dustin May back.
I thought he got hurt again.
Oh, did he? Did he? Okay, I just saw he was pitching the other night, so I didn't know that he got hurt again. Is it also because the Cardinals had IL? Is it also because we've had so much success as a franchise against the Dodgers?
No, because I don't want to talk about that because we lost to them last year. So now we're back on.
I know. I'm just the one game. Come on.
Here's what I want to say. One reason, maybe you look at their rotation. A lot of lefties that the Cardinals could probably mash, and I don't know what they're going to do with Tony Gatto, and he still has to build back up. So for me, I mean, they are a very good team. They have a glaring hole. They don't have a closer. Craig Kimbrell blew another one the other night. They don't have a rotation that's going to go out there. I know they're the best rotation ERA in baseball. I don't really know how they do it, but they don't have a rotation that's going to go out there.
Urias has been so good. Who's going to win the National League? Who's going to win the National League Cy Young?
Sandy Alcantara.
Okay.
I mark his name down and I don't think about it again. The way, even if his stats have faltered a little bit, the way that guy has 220 innings pitched, we're at a 2.3 ERA and a 7 WAR, 0.9 WHIP. Give it to him. It's him.
Right. Okay.
It's incredible. Fair. What a year! What a year!
The cool thing is we won't have to see the Dodgers till the NLCS, so that'd be awesome.
How do you 220 innings only get 14 wins? The
Well, the
Marlins
Marlins
fucking suck.
Also, to be fair, I'm sad to see Don Manley get fired. I understand it, but this is not Don Manley's
I
fault.
heard it was mutual.
Yeah, I think so. Well, he's been there for quite a while, and I'm sure that it's got it like Donnie Bates. He says he's going back to Indiana for a while and just kind of chill out.
He's getting old.
I hope he does, but I hope he's back in baseball. Like
if he
wants
has to be 60, he has to be 70.
Oh, he's not 70.
61.
Yeah.
He looks like he's getting old, man.
He might be done. Like he might be done. I don't know. He might just go out.
I love Don Manley.
I don't know.
Manager of the year 2 years ago when he got the Marlins to the playoffs. I'm a big fan of Don Mattingly.
Me too.
But I do agree that they may need a new voice in there. They had that big Jazz stuff where there was some scuttlebutt. I don't know. I couldn't think of the right word. I'll go with that. About Jazz Chisholm's flair between other players. I think they could use a younger voice for that team. I do.
Yeah, I agree.
Not to take anything away from Don Mattingly. I think he's a great manager. But
so that's what we've got this week in the big series. Obviously, it's the Mets and the Braves. Keep an eye again on the Brewers and the Phillies in the National League. Also in the American League, I mean, I still think I'm more intrigued to see if the Mariners can catch the Rays than if the Orioles can catch the Mariners. But you never know. I mean, you never know. But I just don't see that happening.
The funniest thing to me, Dad, is the Padres screwed themselves into having to play the Braves and the Mets.
Well,
that's the most San Diego Padre thing ever. Is that they have a better record and they're playing a better team because of it.
Is there? Let me ask you this, and the answer I know. I already know your answer. Is there a legitimate argument for Manny Machado for MVP?
No.
Okay. I just think the fact that where the Padres are, it's been him for 85%. I'm not saying he should be. I'm just saying I do think he should be in the discussion because the year that he has had is unbelievable, and the fact that the Padres are where they are at all. Without Tatis, they don't get Soto till August, who hasn't been incredible. I mean, what Manny's done, I'm not saying he should win it. I'm just saying I think his name needs to be thrown in there.
How about this? He should be second.
Okay. You said it was Nolan earlier.
I think I just looked at Manny's stats there. Man, they're close. And you're right when you talk about his Nolan's a better defensive player. For me, I'm not the guy that.
Wait, hold on. I want you to finish that statement. You were right. You don't say that very often. You were right when
I did finish.
I didn't hear you.
You were right is one sentence. That's a full.
Okay. All right. Okay. Fair.
But what I'm saying is, he's really gone on a tear the last month. I haven't been keeping up with him too much. I'm not a guy that lives and dies by the V and MVP. That are you good? What just happened? You good?
Yeah. There. Am I back?
Okay. Yeah, I saw you. You said for some reason.
Yeah,
but I'm not the guy that lives and dies by the V and MVP. I just don't. I don't think that. I think value is subjective, and you can't really quantify it. But Manny Machado being the guy he's been for that team all year long without Tatis, with Juan Soto, but Juan Soto struggling for most of the year, I think you have to give him the nod maybe as number 2. For me, when I say no, he should be considered as MVP. Because he's just not close to Paul Goldschmidt still. He's just not.
What I was saying was I wasn't saying he should be. I said should he be in the conversation.
But no one should be in the conversation for MVP other than Paul Goldschmidt.
Okay, all right.
I'm serious. Like
I get it.
So
I get it.
Than
I get what you're saying.
That there's not even a conversation, in my opinion.
I get what you're saying.
And I predicted that before the year.
Anything else on the baseball front? We're pretty good. I feel like we covered a lot. We kind of went a little bit longer than normal, but that was to be said. Like I said, I'd like to do the playoff spectacular next week.
I don't like it.
I like it. We're not doing
too much expectation.
Playoff episode.
It sets up too much expectation. I like the Tampa.
Just chill to the playoff episode. Is that what you want?
Let's end this. That was too much.
One thing I do want to say, I don't want to get into football. We're going to get into football later. Right now, but I do want to throw out T's and P's, and also, wow, thank God Myles Garrett's all right. Did you see his fucking Porsche?
Yeah.
Oh my God, that dude's what 6'4", 250, and getting it. First of all, I don't even know how he gets in that thing, but the fact that he got out okay.
Honestly, the fact that he's that big probably helped him a lot.
First of all, I love that dude, but two,
awesome.
like I'm just so glad he's okay because that could have gone so
That'd
badly.
Be horrible. Yeah, it's great. He's okay.
That's all I wanted to say about football. The
honestly,
Saints are dead.
The fact that he's that big and muscular probably saved his life. If I'm being honest.
Yeah, the Saints are dead, so I don't even know what else to say about.
They're 1-2. They're fine.
They should be going 3. If it weren't for the Falcons being the Falcons, they'd be 0-3.
I feel like I'm getting tired of saying that they need a quarterback and waiting for the offseason to hope that they actually try and do something. So until they do that, I'm kind of gonna just be like, whatever.
Here's the thing with me, and this is the only thing I'll say. Well, two things. I want to trash Jameis, but if he has 4 fractured vertebrae, I can't really trash
Then
fucking
don't play
Jameis.
him.
He's going out right. I agree.
Play
But two,
Taysom.
offensive coordinator Michael. What the fuck? You have Alvin Kamara.
He should be fired.
Get him the fucking ball.
Well, to be fair, he was hurt.
He played.
I understand he played.
They threw 2 balls his way. Throw him. The best thing that team does is run screens.
I was reading some beat reporter tweets from the Saints. Apparently, it's more the chemistry between Jameis and Kamara is not great.
I've heard that as well.
So that could be why they're not throwing up plays for that connection.
Well, again, Lamar Jackson's going to be loved there. So
I'll be honest with you. I'm not near. I watch the sport. I know what's going on. I can talk a lot about it and the players. When it comes to schemes and how to create, I don't know what I'm talking about. So
I told you.
I have no idea.
I coached JV football one year, and I realized I had no fucking idea what was going on. Literally, there was one play that we got 7 yards on a run, and I was fired up because we got 7 yards. Every other coach screamed at every player on the field. I didn't see anything, but we got 7 fucking yards. That was great. A JV no, I didn't even know what they were talking about. Like blocking down. What the fuck does that mean? They had.
I watched Jason Kelce and Travis Kelce's new podcast. I learned about 50 things an episode that I didn't know before.
That's what I get from watching McAfee when he's got the guys on there who talk about stuff. Same way.
I know the sport and I know the players and I know the history of it. But when it comes to the gameplay itself, I'm the same with hockey. I can't tell you what plays they're running. If they're running a play, I'm like, okay, well, I know what the routes are called, but I don't know what all of them together. I'm out. I don't know.
Yep, no clue.
Final thing, criticize coordinators. I have no idea what they're doing.
Final thing, we have our final giveaway, and then we'll get out of here. Hold on, it's right here. It's right here. Can you see it?
Don't drop it.
I won't. We have staying with the 1982 theme. We have an autographed Ozzie Smith ball. He was not very nice to me the day that he signed this, but I think he was in a bad mood. Well, he wasn't.
I can't confirm it.
I can fucking confirm it. He wasn't very nice to me. But that's irrelevant. Hall of Famer. Probably great guy to every other person in the world except me. Met the guy twice. Was not nice to me either times. But was nice evidently to every other human in the world.
Maybe you were abrasive.
No. Every other human in the world, this man has been nice to. He was mean to me twice.
He's giving away the ball because he has bad memories.
But again, Hall of Famer, great, obviously St. Louis legend. We're gonna do a Facebook giveaway. We did a Twitter one last time, so pay attention. I will have everything up. I'm not going to show you exactly what to do now. That will be up. You need to follow us on Facebook. If you're not, follow us on Twitter at @more_noble, at CalebNoble08. You can find us on Facebook, The More You Noble. And I will have rules on why Ozzie Smith hates me. Maybe you could come up with a reason.
I'm just laughing at the fact that you're trying to give away something cool. And before you did that, you just absolutely trashed on the guy who signed the ball.
I didn't know what I said was to be fair, and I have told you this many times. It's me.
I know. I was hoping to keep it off record.
It's me. Like obviously, I did something wrong, and that's why I apologize.
He probably looked at you and said, "Look at that guy. He looks like he's a bad person. I don't want to be with him."
I don't think so. Brian Jordan was right next to him, and Brian Jordan loved me.
How old were you when this happened?
23. First time.
Probably. Were you
like 22? Whatever. I met him like twice in the span of like 2 years. Either way, irrelevant because everyone else he's been great to, and everyone loves him, and I love him. He was one of the best players I've ever seen in my life.
Players are allowed to have bad days.
Caleb here says he shouldn't. First of all, Caleb, you say he should be in the Hall of Fame.
Okay, it's neither here nor there. Players can have bad days. And before we get out, there's one thing we didn't talk about that I want to hit on. Mike Trout, you reminded me of it.
I agree.
One, you don't know the full story. It was a snippet. So the fact that someone was recording this lets me know that I think he was probably trying to get the kids to get an autograph for him. He's probably a shark. The reason I think that is because the kid looked at him and said, "Is that him?" If the kid wants a Mike Trout autograph, he knows who Mike Trout is. That's one. Two, even if that's not the case, Mike Trout's allowed to have bad days when he's rushing to the field. Three, don't go to Mike Trout's fucking hotel ever. Ever.
Agreed.
Go get at the field or you don't get an autograph. Or go buy one. Do not ever I know that they're on the road, but that is their place of living for the 3 days they are there. Do not go bother them. That is not okay, in my opinion. Don't go do that. And if he wants to sign, great for Mike Trout. I by the way, I've heard he signs more autographs than anyone else in baseball.
Same.
From a lot of people. But
Same.
also, if he's at his place of where he's living to go to work, and he doesn't want to stop and sign your autograph, I'm perfectly okay with that. Anyone that's against Mike Trout now, fuck you. That's all I got.
Yeah, agree. And also, I've heard a lot of former players, NFL and MLB, say that essentially they will do whatever they can to sign, especially for kids. But when somebody comes up with like 5 things, they know what's going on. You know what I mean? Or if a grown man like me chases them down in an airport with like, "Hey, can you sign this football? Oh, thank you. I've got 7 more that I'd like you to." Like, come on, what are we doing?
Not to mention the fact that these guys are sending thousands of cards every year to sign for tops.
Right.
But they also recognize people. Like they're like, that person's been here 10 times and done the same
And also,
thing. Who's
the
to
last thing
say
I'll
that
say
he
about
didn't
this, because
recognize
it's much ado about nothing, because who the fuck cares? Like, like you said, don't go to where he lives. Like, come on.
No,
But
that's his
2,
home.
if you are one of the humans who is paying a kid $20 to go down and get autographs from a major league player, you are literally the fucking scum of the earth. That's what I'll say.
You're making money off of someone else too. Like you're making money off someone else's name. Go do something else. And I get it. People have to make money, and they have different ways that they need to make money. I get it. Okay, I'm not going to speak from a place of privilege. There are people that do a lot worse than that to make money in this world. But do not shit on Mike Trout for that. Seriously, fuck
Agreed.
off. Do not. Like he's supposed to be one of the nicest guys. I have not heard one bad thing about Mike Trout in his 12 years in the big league.
No.
So now that he doesn't autograph one person's thing outside of his place of residency for the 3 days that he's in that city, he's a bad person. Stop.
You know who does autograph balls, whether they like you or not? Ozzie Smith, and this will be on our Facebook giveaway. This is an awesome get. Like, shout out to Bruce for winning the Whitey Herzog one, another Hall of Famer. I think we've done a pretty hell of a good job with these giveaways. We'll have the rules out on Facebook tomorrow. I'll have those out for the giveaway, and we'll go from there.
Whitey nice to you?
Whitey's awesome. I've met Whitey a couple times.
Whitey looks good, by the way.
To be fair, the ball that I gave away from Whitey was I won at an auction. Yeah, so it had the certificate of authenticity and everything. You know what I mean? I'm not going to autograph conventions anymore.
Before we get out of here, Whitey looks the same for the last 15 years. I'm so happy that guy does not look bad right now.
Yeah, same.
That makes me happy. All right, you got anything else?
Last thing before we get out of here, Illinois plays Wisconsin. Is that at Wisconsin, or is it at Wisconsin?
At Wisconsin, I believe.
Oh, so Mike Godar's probably up there jumping around.
Probably. I mean, I don't know if he can afford all these games he's going to.
Well, I'm assuming he can afford the ones he went to.
Wait, they don't play Wisconsin. Oh, they do. Yeah. No, they're in Wisconsin.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
They're back at home against Iowa next week.
We will be back. We will be back next week. All right. Probably, let's see, playoffs start Friday. So we'll probably be back Thursday. That sound good? Because actually you're coming home for us to go to the game. So we'll record. We'll have it out for the playoffs. We'll do our playoff spectacular. And I think hopefully we're going to have a couple guests there. Let's see if we can get that set up, and we'll have that going. Stay tuned for the Facebook giveaway. And go out this weekend, last homestand as far as regular season. If you're going Sunday, I'm incredibly happy for you. That's awesome. Enjoy that. If you're not, go Friday or Saturday. It's going to be packed. Even if they are playing the Pirates, it's going to be packed. It's going to be awesome. I'm excited. Let's get to the playoffs healthy. Let's get it all rolling. Anything else you need to add before we get out of here?
No, I'm good.
All right. Hey, everybody, have a fantastic week. Have a fantastic weekend. Wish us all luck with the yard sale. We do need that. Stay safe. Take care of each other. We will talk to you soon. Cheers.